We are straight into episode 3 of the Bristol United career mode. I said it right for the first time. And start of the season. Got Grimsby Town first game of the season, and we'll go in and show you the team, show you how everything's looking, because a few things happened whilst it was off camera. We have 4 new signings: Matete, Potter, Pasquale and Molina. Matete is the replacement to Broderick. Broderick left at the end of the last season on a contract expiry, never wanted to renew, so let him go to free agents. I wasn't going to sign him back and beg for him to play. He obviously didn't want to stay, and we're quite far into the window at this point. No one's picked him up, so sucks to be him, I guess. But besides that, we'll get into the first game of the season once my screen decides to show you the game. But there's a few new faces, but none of them actually properly starting the team besides Mateta and I think Potter at left back, because Skinner left last season. He was 56 overall when he left, 33 years old, and Moss isn't good enough. Pasquale, whilst being a high rated, wouldn't start over Stevens just because Stevens did so much for us last year. So he'll come off the bench. Stevens worked well with Lennon, so you don't really want to mess a good thing up, especially how we ended last season. Holloway keeps his place, Hal Dawson, same thing, and Elias. So we get into the first game of the season. The crowd goes crazy as they go into the stadium. Hopefully it doesn't show that we're from Colchester this year. So us in the white and blue hoops, kicking things off with a little fancy heel. Hal Dawson gets it, passes it out to Elias, and then hopefully this year it's at least a playoff place. If not, automatic promotion. Stevens gets it, trying to look for something to do here, gets it dispossessed, and rejoins again with a throw-in at half. Yeah, as I said, we didn't have much expectations last season, but after where we ended up being, there's no way but to move forward and go, we should have got playoffs. The ball of the right, I didn't know how close it was between those teams, and it kind of just slipped away. We didn't really go for it. That's bad on me. As they attack, do nothing with it. Hopkins can hopefully get us on the break. You know how dead we was from counter-attacks last season, but that was our biggest problem. Get the ball away way too much. As Cabby has it, goes out to Rose, Curry to Rose, and an audacious back heel, or side flick. It was Giroud-esque, to be fair, just a little further out, but I can't be mad at conceding goals like that. I can be mad at losing to Grimsby, first game of the season, but you can't fault the finish really. Watkins had no chance in goal. As you can see, just straight outside the boot, dinks it over him. He's Superman posed into a clip there, to be fair. As we go into another Grimsby attack in the 21st minute. Thought he was offside, Curry was, but somehow isn't. Gets it back to Burns to McEachran to Rose again, the goal scorer, and this time he does get a finger to it. But yeah, we're in the back foot for this game. Janet can't do anything with it. And it's not the best way to start the season, to be fair. You usually start as you mean to go on, and I'm not going on like this. It's bad enough conceding when we're at home first, but to just generate no chances at all as Holloway gets it, as we look to go forward and get our first shot on target. Stevens cuts inside, and he rectifies the mistake of going behind, and justifies his position in the team because he started over Pascal for this game. Pascal, I call Laszlo a little bit because he looks like Laszlo from GTA 5. If you've ever played the game, there's going to be some people who weren't alive when that came out, to be honest, and that's weird. As Elias gets it, pass it to Hopkins down the line. We look to break. Lennon's on the inside. Can you get to him? Goes over to him. Lennon takes it down, shoots, goes near post, and it's a good save, to be honest. New kid, Mateta taking the corner to Morton. Morton, can you get a hand to it? Head to it. Keep gets a hand to it. Out for another corner, which we do nothing from, and subsequently the rest of the half and most of the second half was more of the same. It was a bit, I'll say more of the same. All the chances kind of dried up after that. As Sousa Bell gets it, on loan from Tottenham, I'm thinking. Cabby to Curry. Another good save there from Watkins. As he kind of justifies his decision as well. We had a decision to make at the end of last season whether we were going to keep him in goal or look for someone else, and I've stuck by him, to be fair. Not that he's awful or anything, it's just there are options out there and we chose to look into other positions as Godwin takes the corner. Looking for Lennon, not the biggest guy on the pitch, to be fair to him. Gets it out to Watkins past Gual for his first touch. I can't do anything with it, to be honest. He never had it under control, as it's a 1-1 draw. Goodwin wasn't happy this year, but we decided to keep him anyway, just because Hopkins isn't going to be about all the time, so we're going to eventually need someone to take that place, and it's going to be him. Because, again, Hopkins is older, same rating. None of them are happy, to be fair, for some reason, because they're fighting for top spot and they're both quite important players. They're just constantly bickering to me about who wants to go where. As we get into the next game against Cambridge United. Cambridge to kick off in their orange and black kit. Us also in the orange but with the white tops. As Bennett gets it. Bennett Kaki starting off on the strong front foot here. I prefer the lower leagues over the Premier League and stuff like that, because especially in the Premier League, every single kick-off they blast into the corners and try and put the pressure on you, but they never press. So it's nice to actually play football and get chances straight off the off, whether it's us or them. As Davey has it starting this first game, I think for the club, no, just this season, as it ends up with Lennon. Lennon makes a nice turn, gets away from the defender, and nice and tidy finish there into the bottom corner. That's what he's known for. His bread and butter last year was the low driven across goal. So it's nice to see that some things haven't changed, and this is a better start to the game than it was last week against Grimsby. To be fair, I don't think he was even last week. A couple of games, because the game can thick and fast when you're in the lower divisions. But either way, we make it 1-0 in the first 11 minutes, so good start. But this Cambridge team's no slouch. You would have saw there who got the ball from kick-off was Mpanzu, who used to play for Luton in the Prem, so not nice to see him in League 2. But they got a few people like Kachunga, who used to play for, I think it was Huddersfield, back when they was in the Champ or possibly Prem. That was going back a few seasons. Because he's about, mid-30s now, early 30s. Either way, they're still on the attack here with Brophy. It's Barrington back to Brophy. We can't close him down, but good interception from Godwin. Pass it out, calm as you like. He doesn't really feel fear, he doesn't, which you saw against the Wolves game last year. You'll happily take any 1-10 shots from anywhere. Good or bad, sometimes you've got to get in his ear and tell him not to. As Kachunga gives it to the striker who managed to get a block from Hal Dawson, I think it was. Either way, they're back on the attack with Kachunga to Kaki. Back to Bennett, either way, even Rossi. And Panzu gets intercepted, or tackled, more like it, Lennon. Can't attack Bruin here, as we can get it to Godwin. Godwin gets it. And you get Stevens in the box, yeah, he's going to take it himself though. Lucky deflection, goes around to keep him. As I said, he's got that fearlessness. It's what you see from a lot of young players. It's like Rashford when he first broke onto the scene. People like McKay was scoring, naming United players for some reason, only United players. But there's a ruthlessness to a kid that sort of gets weaned out of them as they go through and become part of system players, especially these days. So it's nice to see people like Godwin just be absolutely fearless, go through, try and take the defender on, gets a lucky bounce, and goes around and keep it quite nicely. Making it 2-0 in the first half. As Cambridge can't really get anything going. They've been trying, to be fair. They've been knocking at the door. They just can't really get through and get a proper chance off. As they're still making way before half time, 41st minute. And you see, as soon as they get to that final third, it's just, we kind of swarm them a little bit. Which is nice to see a good defensive display from us. We conceded a lot last year, we just scored a hell of a lot more. Mpanzu still running in space, passes it to Barrington to ball. And we're kind of happy to play with it for a little bit. As soon as they get past a certain point, we're just full on the close, on the press, 2-man. But it does lead to holes sometimes as people like Molina step out. But it works for us this time, and they get a tame effort and goal. But again, they start in the second half, instantly dispossessing us, but don't matter, we get it back with Godwin to Stevens looking for Lennon. Lennon just further out wide than he should be. Doesn't go for the low driven, which I think is better in that case, because the keeper often will save it and then push it more towards a throw in the corner. Whereas if you get a little bit of lift on it, it's more likely than not going to go out for a corner, which gives us another chance to score from. Either way, nothing happens from that subsequent corner as they get it on the attack now in the 55th minute. Ball to Kachunga can't do much with it again, struggling in the final third, but Mpanzu gets it, makes some space away from Hal Dawson there. But they can't get the shot off as Parrington gets it. Parrington back to Broving, push that wide, ball gets it right the way inside, and Mpanzu gets it and curls it top bins again. 2 games in a row we've conceded great goals, not as good as the Roses in the first game, Danny Rose, not to get confused with the ex-Tottenham left back. But yeah, and Mpanzu on the bounce as well, just managed to get that instant space from Hal Dawson, pops it in there. First real attempt to target that was, and the punishes for it as Davey gets it. Is he offside? He's offside. I've tried this season to include more of the highlights and not just the goals, and actually get somewhat of an affinity with more of the players this year. As Matete gets it, pass it to Holloway. Holloway can have a shot off and target and buries it. Like players like Holloway, who have seamlessly come into the team and laid a stake to be captain, to be fair. People like that who's going to probably be with us through all stages of the career, going from the bottom right to the very top. And I want you to see more of them. Players like Lennon, who are just banging goals for fun. I want to see more than just the goals and see how they play, because it's not all roses and it's not all, just 0-0 games where you don't see much, as Hopkins comes off the bench and makes it 4-1. Maybe not players like Hopkins, me and Hopkins don't really get along. Better than Lane, because Lane gives the ball away a hell of a lot more. But yeah, that's one thing I have about wingers. They will run down the line like nobody's business, and you can see Hopkins is coming in now with a contract showdown, possibly because Godwin took his space and he wants to go. Either give me my starting spot back, make me important or crucial, or just compensate me well enough for it. As you can see, it's on $9.50 a week. Enough time on his contract, to be fair, to where we can be like, hold off a little bit, assess the situation, because we've got people like Burrows out on loan. Like, do we need to necessarily keep you, or can we cash in? But up until we give him the contract, he's on the transfer list, so he obviously either wants to move or he wants to get quite a bit of a pay bump, as you can see. 2 years, important personally play, which we agree to, but we got a wage structure here, and I think the highest earner's on $3,000, and people like Lennon are on 1.7, so 1.6 is a fair offer, and they don't even negotiate there. So we've got no chance but to listen 2 offers for him. Can't go back in. I'm not going to release him because that's money down the drain that we don't necessarily have. So we've got to put up with him for a little bit longer, and I don't know if I'm going to call back Burrows or not, because I don't want to stunt his development when we've got players like Godwin about. But we get 2 offers in for him, one from Turkey and one from, I think, the lower league in Spain, and I think that's less of a jump than going to Turkey from the 2nd division. Just because, yeah, that's what I felt like, even though it's less money. But we go into our next game, and I think with Northampton? Yep, Northampton we've got. Away from home, I think this is the 2nd game away from home. But if we can pick up points in a row, that's automatic promotion, smart status. We can sort out our home form, because that's something that should come second nature to us. We shouldn't be bad away from home. At home. It's away from home form that wins titles, that puts you in those places where you can go up. So as long as we keep trucking with that, then we're fine. But we can't get anything going at all this game. I remember it being one of those ones where it was just a lot of midfield battles, and as much as it was alright for me to play, it does make for good highlight watching, just seeing tackle after tackle. It's not like crunching tackles either, it's just a lot of spamming of the buttons, to be honest. As Lane gets it in the 70th minute, trying to make something happen. People aren't budging. but we managed to make it a space for Holloway to get on the ball. Holloway again, trying to dance and make some space, but there's no options anywhere. The only option is to go back out to lane, but he gives it to Mateta. Mateta again trying to do something. Northampton were just so compact defensively, it was just really, really frustrating me, and just couldn't make anything happen. Stevens, who last game had the exact same chance, managed to make it 1-0 against Cambridge. Has the same chance here, can't do anything with it, as Vale gets the ball. If I'm right, it's Blackburn Rovers. Pass it out wide to Edwards. Edwards was doom heading all game, to be fair. He absolutely just ran Elias ragged the entire game. But yeah, pass it to Hoskins. Hoskins corner, plays a nice 1-2. Managed to get a little bit of space, and Campbell makes it 1-0. And I think that's how it really is gonna end. I don't see us scoring here and trying to make it a draw. We did put in place to do that though. We brought on Malcolm, I think it was in the second half, and again he can do much either. He has a chance there that doesn't result in anything, and I think Northampton make it 2-0 if memory serves correct. This is all post-com, but yeah, I think they're double their lead because we just didn't generate anything, and when you push that many people forward, you're bound to end up conceding something, and they will win out as winners here. Especially late in the 94th minute, passes it to Fauna gives it to Vale, and they were good at just popping into the big man in the box and then having runners around, couldn't deal with it. Gibbons, who hasn't played a lick of football for us, and the year that he's been with us, he came to us in January from the youth academy, so it's nice to get him out on loan. And we've got a big game against Notts County coming up, who don't have the money anymore that they did when they had Sevion Eriksson. But yeah, still a fairly decent team in the league. So that's a big one. Hopkins is out the door. Definitely went to Burgos there. And what was it, 830k? 890k. Which, for League 2, decent. That pays the scouting budget. McEwen, 2 years in Poland. Probably won't stay there for the whole 2 years, just depending on injuries and stuff like that. It's easier to recall someone like that than to go and look for a new transfer, because we've got to keep as much money in our pockets as we can. So we have our next game on deadline day against Gillingham, so I'm pretty sure that's the 20th and the 30th. But yeah, Gibbons is gone. Nice development. Should go a long way, to be fair. If not, we'll sell him and it's profit. So it's not really, it's a win-win situation. There's no downside to it at all. But we end up paying his wages, and yeah, it was the 20th and not the 30th. So we still got time in the transfer window. Not that we're going to be making any more signings, because I think those 4 was more than enough. But yeah, Gillingham to start with it. Pass it to Coleman to Nevitt to McKenzie. And if I'm right, Gillingham was quite high up in the table last year, so this might be a bit of a test, considering we haven't started the best. Was it 1-1 draw, 1 lost 1? So yeah, we've got to properly get into form and figure out what our best 11 is, because with the signings being quite close to ratings to what the starting 11 is, we've almost struggled then and gave ourselves a headache of, do we start Stevens or Pasquale? Do we drop Lennon if he's not scoring and put in Pasquale and put him next to Stevens, because Stevens is a bit of more the worker in the partnership? Stevens does the tracking and everything, so do you drop Lennon? Even though he's always in red hot form, I think he scored 20 goals last season if I look at the stats. But yeah, it's hard to drop someone like that. And then we don't have Broderick anymore, so we've got to rely on Mateta or Davies as Gillingham are attacking. Put together a nice string of players this game as they try and find McKenzie, but it's nicely inserted by Hart, who's starting over Elias this game. Seymour's also started, because you can't forget about him. Holloway gives the ball to Lane gives it back in a nice 1-2. Holloway didn't continue his run for some reason, but Lane's still there. He passes it to Lennon, and then it's hard to drop him. Whether he plays good or bad, he's 9 times out of 10 gonna score. So that's Lennon putting us 1-0 up in the 34th minute. As Gillingham kick off again, with Mackenzie passing to Little, Pedersen, back to Little. Seymour can't get there just in time. Someone steps up, I think it's Morton, and he gives him a chance to score. So that's 1-1, didn't keep the lead for very long there. But yeah, our defence isn't really settled this year, which is causing some questions. Even Morton has been dropped an occasion for Molina. And Hal Dawson's now the stronger defender. Watkins, who didn't play much last year, was a higher rated centre-back as well. It's just that no one kind of has the leadership that Morton does. So it's nice to keep him in the team. But if results keep going like this, we might have to drop him. As Holloway gets to start the second half, gives it to Lennon, who had a similar chance in the first half. A little bit harder, a little bit tighter an angle as he's coming across it. But yeah, should have made that 2-1 really. As we get it in the defensive end, going up the pitch. And I am having very much issues with the screen, so I can't see anything. But you know, all technical difficulties out of every episode. Trying to remedy that, but we'll see what happens later on in the series. Maybe we'll switch to live comms. But it's forever eventful over here. Doobity boop 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 boop. Little break. Little break. Little break. We're missing nothing anyway. Holloway gives it to Stevens. Stevens managed to bully his way through, trying to make it 2-0, and he does. And we immediately make changes after that with Latham, who I don't think you've seen yet, comes on. He's come from the youth academy, he's about 65 rated, he's quite decent. As Davey gets a chance. Davey hasn't really made the most of the opportunities given in the team. Not that he's played bad, he's just not an upgrade over Mateta. He doesn't offer much difference in the position. He's just a bit slightly worse, and it's a bit too negative when we don't have Holloway on the pitch, so which makes him undroppable. Like every other player plays the same apart from Holloway. As Pasquale Laszlo comes on and makes it 3. He's been alright. He's a bit hot and cold. It depends if he's got enough space to run into, but he's not strong enough, he's not agile enough, so he's kind of just he's a finisher. It's not bad finishing, but yeah, we've got to give him space and let him run onto balls. As I said, Holloway is the dynamite midfielder out of the ones that we got. As we look to wrap up the transfers and show you who's coming in and out, Hopkins was the only one that really left of any note, of any money. You've seen the free agent signings and a couple of loans from players that have come up from the youth academy, and McKeown, who was there from the very start. And here's a look at the youth academy, just because you'll see a lot of these players in the future. But we'll go through and put all the plans and development plans together for them. And we'll just skim through these. A lot of these will probably be on loan for the next couple of seasons, just because 54, 55 rating, they're not really going to get into the squad, and I don't want to stunt their potential, so it's nice to just get them out on loan, and then you'll see them later on. But people like Mann look quite good, 60 overall, with I think it's 71 to 94 potential, if it's alright. But the next game, if you didn't see that, is against Bristol Rovers, so it's a proper derby ahead as we get to September. Holloway's up to a 70 as well. Wilkins 69, Hal Dawson 69, but he's on international duty. So it looks like we're either starting Watkins or Molina over him. And we go with Molina. No, we don't. We go with Watkins just because he's got more experience in the big games. Being with the club, obviously. They would have played Latham, UCC, 65 overall, so catching up with Lane possibly could take his place in the next couple of months. We've got Malcolm on the bench if things get dicey. Police are out in full effect. Still in Colchester. I don't know why we migrate every time we play him. But to kick off in the white and orange shorts. Away from home we are. As Morton gets the ball, Moss. To be fair, last season we absolutely battered them, so I don't really feel any qualms playing against them as Pascal gets the ball. Pascal passes it to Metet. Metet back to Pascal. Holloway, Lane. As I said, we put 4 and 5 past them last season. Where Pascal takes the shot. And whilst they did score quite a few, I think they scored 3 over the 2 games. It wasn't really a challenge, so as long as we can keep dominating them in the fixtures, I will be happy. And hopefully we won't have to play them next year, because I don't want to go up with us. As Lennon gets the chance, low driven, 1-0, 13 minutes in, and that is more of what we want to see. Okay, Conte gets it in half, passes it to Sparks to Soteriou. I think I'll finally saying his name properly. Passes Sparks, he's over there. They can't get it over the top, can they? They do. Wilkins with a great save. He makes those saves quite a lot, to be fair. I think it's quite common to shoot cross goal, isn't it? Usually, the last couple of years, it sounds stupid to say it's a very standard finish, but there was either buried in top bins or it was straight at the keeper. This year, it seems to be a cross goal. As Pascal goes across goal. It's my favourite finish as well, to be fair. If it works, don't change it up. We know Lennon likes a low cross goal. Stevens varies it up. Pascal likes to do the same, I think. But either way, as long as it ends up in the back of the net, I'm fine. As Rovers get underway, 2-0 down. Soteriou gets it, passes it to Conte. Conte gets past Matete and holds him off. But Watkins gets across to him, makes a block. Goodwin gets it, Watkins away. Matete now on the counter, but they are running straight with the strikers. They dropped instantly, which kind of nullified the attack as Pascal gets it in the offside position. Nice try by Holloway there. As we kick off for the second half with Pascal intercepting the ball. Lennon gives it away cheaply though. Belongo versus Soteriou. As you can see, we haven't got out of the giving away the possession cheaply as Morton gets it with a great save there. Wilkins making himself big, so yeah, it's harder to score. Nice side through by Holloway as Lane skips inside, evades the challenge by Moore, passes it to Matete. Sees Pascal, Lucky saw it too. Soteriou gets it as they can counter. Hutchinson looking for options, managed to find it to Morton. Wilkins there with a standard save as Morton was offside. Elias gets it, wasting time a little bit as we're in the 79th minute, but instantly puts the ball into the box, and keeper has catching practice as Soteriou looks to break to Hutchinson. Watkins steps up, made it hard, but what a great challenge from Watkins. He absolutely read that perfectly. I thought that he kind of misjudged that, but either way, it looked like we run out 2-0 victors as we're in the 91st minute with only 1 minute of added time. And yep, as Stevens makes his run, the referee blows his whistle, and we finish top of the table. 8 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. So that 1 draw and loss at the start of the season was it for us. And to be fair, there's not a lot from the middle pack, and it's tight at the top as well. But we managed to put 5 points distance in there. I see Colchester down in 17th, who are our next opponents. And Colchester, if I'm right remembering, were up in the promotion spots last year, so a bit of a fall from grace for them in the first 10 games. It's a long season to go though, so we'll see what they can do against us. As Mateta can't get the end of that, and Marconde looks to get away with the bonus. Is that Janoy Donsian as well? So there's plenty of experience in this team, as Butterfield has it. And they shouldn't really be in 17th place. Dorber to Bonis to Butterfield. I don't know what that touch was there, but either way we get it away with Lathan, who starts the game. Alright, Mateta Pass it to Malcolm. Malcolm in acres of space. Can he shoot? He scores. So he doesn't start too many games, and I thought, why not? Chesterfield 17th. Let's see what damage he can do. First chance, first goal of the season, I think it is. So yeah, fair play to Malcolm, making the most of an opportunity. We also started Davey this game again with Matete, and that's how we know they're a bit more negative than the other pairing. But when it's nice to give him a little bit of experience, see if he can do anything with it. Try and change the style of approach, not to make him a Holloway 2.0 because he is his own player, but just to make him a bit more rounded. I'd like to have another box-to-box type midfielder. I don't have to do the same thing, because Latham paces it all the way up the pitch, tries to cut inside but just overruns it a little bit. Mateta running after it, making sure that Latham has time to get back into position as Potter dives in there. Oh, great challenge by Latham there. Gets it quickly as well to get the ball to Mateta. Mateta into Davey. Into Pascal, who gives it to Malcolm. And then Pascal carries on his run as Davey gets the assist. Nice bit of vision, picked his head up, saw Pascal doing the run in. As I said, it's a through ball. You can't dribble too well, hoping that improves a little bit as the rating grows. He's only young as well, to be fair, so yeah, good start to the season and good start against Chesterfield. As the second half kicks off with Naylor having the ball, gives it out to Donzian, gets it to Bonis, back to goal, gives it out to Makonde out wide. Again, goes past Donzian into Sturk. They're trying to do something with it, but eventually leads to nothing as Lathan gets it, looking to counter. Pass to Pascal, carries on his run, has to go back and hold it a little bit. Pascal running again, gets it, can he get inside, do anything with it? Deflected, keeper saves, and they clear to Elias. Looks to recycle the attack, gives it to Godwin. Godwin to Miles, who's come on now. Passes to Matete into Lennon, who's also on. Passes to Pascal. Pascal tries to drive it across goal. Keeper gets a nice foot to it. Goes up to a corner that doesn't do anything. Come back to the 72nd with Miles on the ball. Absolutely darting it down. Gets to Pascal. Pascal, nice turn. Back to Miles. Miles to Lennon. Lennon. He goes for the low driven and he tucks it in the bottom left hand corner. Keeper tries to put their foot out, but he can't get to it. Roy Lennon in the 75th minute makes it over and done with for the competition as they try to look for a consolation goal in the 88th minute. Donzian gets it, Sturk, out to Mandeville to Dorber can't put his head onto it as Miles looks to try and get it away but can't get there quick enough. Molina heads it away, they get to it again, second ball to be mopped up by Chesterfield, but they're looking for something in the 92nd. Goal difference helps when you're that far down the table. Again, looking for a head, which get to everything first. Can't do anything about it as they give a last ditch attempt. Again, we get ahead to it. Miles just has enough and he goes, I've had it. 95th, all done. And we extend our lead at the top of the table. After 11 games, that puts us at 28 points in good stead for a first place finish, to be fair. Silverware is always nice to have, and no matter what level you're at. It's nice to look back on 6-7 years time down the road when you got your Premier League title going. This is where it all started. Beating Chesterfield 3-0 in the cold October. Well, to be fair, it's not going to be that cold. As we get to the Virtue Trophy in October against Tranmere, we'll have a look at the table and look at everyone's stats this far. Wilkins at 69, he's got a +1 rating. Lennon, +1 again. He's 30 years old, but he's not showing no signs of slowing down. He's also open for contract negotiations. So if you can keep him around for 2 more years, I don't see him dropping too much at all. Maybe even going up the way we're playing. As we give him a year, still crucial. Don't want a wage clause. There's no point having one in England. As we give him a wage of 3k? I think that's a match high sign clause. So he gets that. No, Pascal's on 3.2. So Uruguay's on quite a bit. But there's no harm in being paid 300k. 300k? 3k. Otherwise, not modest 450. He's still eating Tesco meal deals. But yeah, everyone's looking good. They're flying. 11 games in, averaging 7 rated. Lennon's 11 and 14 with 5 assists, 2 fades, doing it all. Pascal's 5 and 2 with mainly bench appearances. And even Elias chipped in with a goal and assist. I can see Holloway's ran away with the assists. He's only started 9 league games and he's got 8 of them in the competition, which isn't too bad at all. He's chipped in 1 goal. So yeah, everything's going well. We'll catch up next episode, where we'll go through straight from January to the end of the season. If there's a playoffs, we'll have a little mini playoff episode where we'll show the games, but hopefully that doesn't happen because we'll go straight through to automatic promotion. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one when we get there. Peace.